Hi, my name is Dr. Courtney Tolinski, and I'm the director of the Zarlengo Foundation Learning Evaluation Center at Havern School. Today, I wanted to talk to you about 5 key things to look out for with your preschooler when it comes to reading. So if your child had delayed speech, meaning that they weren't speaking in full sentences between 1 and 2 years of age, even just short phrase sentences, maybe they were late to say their first words, which should be around 6 months of age, or their receptive language is great, meaning that they can listen really well and understand you, but they can't always communicate how they're feeling very well. So if that has been a persistent challenge for your child, then you want to watch out for a potential to struggle with reading. So the second thing that we often see is difficulties with working memory. So working memory just means being able to absorb what they're learning, keep it in their memory, and then be able to use it later on. So a lot of times for preschoolers, this comes out as challenges with learning common songs, such as nursery rhymes, difficulties remembering stories that they've read, names of friends or family members, etc. So if you're finding that your child is struggling with memory, then that could be a sign that they may struggle with reading as well. The third thing I want you to pay attention to are their motor skills. So a lot of times children with learning disabilities start off with challenges with speech, as we mentioned, but also with motor skills. So those can be things like tying their shoes or buttoning their buttons. So these are fine motor skills, right? Often things that we do with our hands. It can be things like difficulties grasping a pencil or a crayon and working with that. So if your child has difficulties with fine motor skills, then they are more predisposed to having challenges with reading as well. The fourth thing that I want you to think about is their recall. So this is very similar to working memory, but it's specific here to recalling the common facts that they should know by the time they ideally enter kindergarten. By the time they finish kindergarten, your child should have a mastery of all the letters and really start to work on sight words as well. But if you're finding that your child is struggling with recalling colors, numbers, counting, or letters, by the time they reach age 4 or 5, then that could be a sign of a potential learning disability with reading. And the fifth key sign is if you have a family history of reading difficulties. So maybe you, your spouse, or a relative within your immediate family has struggled with reading, then chances are that one of your children may also struggle with reading as well. So oftentimes when I evaluate children for a learning disability, I ask if a parent or close family member has a history with reading difficulties, because it can be a marker for reading disabilities for your children. So those are the 5 key signs of potential reading challenges or a reading disability in preschoolers that I want you to look out for. So it's really important to take these things into context, right? And to really be cautious. Just because your child may struggle with fine motor skills or speech doesn't necessarily mean that they have a reading disability. However, if your child is checking off a lot of these boxes and you're noticing that they're struggling with reading, then there's a strong possibility that they may have reading challenges that could look like dyslexia. So if you think that that's a concern for you, then it's important to have a good evaluation and to really work with your child's school to think about strategies and ways that you can intervene with them appropriately. You may also want to consider a specialized school if you know your child has dyslexia and has been struggling with the traditional curriculum. So Havern School is a school out here in Colorado, and we specialize in providing multisensory reading instruction for children with dyslexia and other learning disabilities as well. So that's one potential resource for you to consider if you're a local within the Denver area. However, it's really important, again, to make sure you have a good evaluation, good data, and to really look at all of your options, as well as to intervene early. We know that early intervention is key, particularly for struggling readers. So it's really important to get your child the help that they need as early as possible. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.